When was the last time that you walked and talked with a friend or colleague, and how was it different to a face-to-face, a phone call, or God forbid it, a Zoom call? I'm Antoinette and I go live every Sunday and I just share with you whatever has been percolating in my brain in the past week. So in the last 2 weeks or so, I've managed to do this twice, to walk and talk physically with a friend. I have a friend that I walk with. It used to be every week before work, so we'd have a 6:30 a.m. walk, and those were amazing. So it's less frequent now. And I had a really good friend, my business partner, Lindsay, come down, and we walked and talked and had a strategy meeting in Petworth Park. And both of these conversations impact me so differently from when I'm sat with someone face to face on my sofa, which I absolutely love, by the way, or Zoom sessions, which I love less, but, have been serving a powerful function for us all since COVID. But for me, it sets my soul alive. And I've just been trying to work out why that is. So I think that there's something that focuses the mind when you've got an end destination, or where you reach a halfway point and you turn back. It feels like there's a bit more ebb and flow. Of course, if somebody's got a pressing problem and the time slot's all there, it's fair play. But when you've set off with no big agenda, there is something about the halfway mark where you turn back and you reflect on, have I heard from the other person in this conversation, or things like that. I think as well, for me, that there's something powerful that happens in terms of going deeper. It's like with each step that you take, you just go deeper and deeper into your mind or into your soul or wherever it is that you hold your stuff in. And I think that there's an interesting dynamic that happens when you're not staring at each other face to face, and rather when you're looking ahead at where you're going, or you're staring at the view. It seems to, again, allow for a bit more depth or important pauses in a conversation where you can gather your thoughts, which definitely feel uncomfortable when you're eyeballing each other over Zoom, and can often feel uncomfortable when you're physically together as well, unless you're super comfortable with that person. And again, for me, the combination of fresh air, of views, especially when you can see the horizon. I'm so blessed where I live. I can see the sea on one side, and I can see out to the downs on another side. So I'm never far away from a big vista. And when you have the steady cadence of just walking one step after a time, actually having to slow down to the pace of the slowest person, it somehow for me has a really calming, clarifying and powerful effect. Come to think of it, I don't know why I don't do this more often. So that's probably what I've been percolating on. Why don't I get out and have conversations out in the fresh air more often? I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. Are you someone that always walks and talks and takes every opportunity to get out there, wind, rain and shine, and have some of your deepest and best conversations? Are you someone that's never thought about doing that before and thinks as well, like business conversations in particular should be at your desk in a more formal setting? I'd love to hear about anyone that does work talks and walks. Tell me how that goes. How do you structure that? Can you do that? If you're virtual, can you still do a walking and talking meeting if you're on the phone, or even using your cameras, I guess, as you plod along? I'd love to hear about your experiences of how that's worked out for you. A friend of mine was recently prompted to start a weekly walk and talk group following the death of a loved one earlier this year. And they shared that there's something really freeing in creating a space for people to just be in, with the hope that this freedom allows people to share what's really going on inside of them. And again, I wonder, are any of you part of a formal walking group or a grief walking group, or I don't know, whatever your group does? Again, I'd love to hear from you. I love this quote by Helen Keller, and she says that walking with a friend in the dark is better than walking alone in the light. And I think that she probably means that more metaphorically, but I think there's power about having a friend in your journey, whether that's physical or whether that's metaphorical. Life is better and richer when we have people that walk the road with us, but how much sweeter when that person is on the same path and looking at the same view as you. So this was a bit of a quick one, but I've got a few questions. When was the last time you walked and talked with someone? And my second question, like, what does a walk with a friend or a colleague do for you versus a face-to-face or a Zoom? Is there a difference for you? And my last question is, could you have more meetings where you do this? If it's something that energizes you and supersizes your conversations, could you have more meetings where you do this? As ever, answers on a postcard. No, not really. Not answers on a postcard. Share in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. That's me done for today. Have a great week, y'all, wherever you are. Walk on, and I will see you next Sunday.